Lou Gordon's got a new defensive coordinator, and he's changed things up quite a bit. Just what are you seeing from them in terms of defense and looks?
Play a lot more man. They let their athletes just be in one-on-one coverage, and they try to do a bunch of stuff up front. And it's a different look from than it was last year. But we'll look at it on film more this week and see ways to attack it. But they're a good, sound defense. They got a bunch of athletes. It's the University of Oregon. They're pretty known for their speed and stuff like that. So we got a bunch of good athletes, and we'll just find the best way to attack it.
They sort of flipped their front seven. Are there guys you remember from last year you see doing very different things?
I don't really study names or anything like that. It's just more numbers. So I couldn't tell you. I just more focused on with our offense where space at and stuff like that instead of just the specific personnel, I guess.
How do you assess the first 3 weeks, and what were you guys doing during the bye week?
First 3 weeks, last week was good. I think we had a good bye week. I thought we practiced really, really hard, really fast. I thought we came out fast. It was kind of something we struggled with the first, few games. But we're addressing it now. We're getting it going. I think coaches have done a real nice job of, being on us about our tempo and things like that and doing our job. And I think players have been holding each other accountable. And, we're really excited. I think the bye week this year happened at a perfect time. Last year was kind of pretty early. Same time this year, just different scenario. I think we really needed it this year, and it was good to have.
How surprised were you that Colorado went in there and beat them with the backup quarterback?
It's a competitive league. Anybody can beat anybody on Saturday. We've seen that, and the Pac-12 really just filled with a bunch of good teams. So, yeah.
You guys are a top 20 offense this season, and you're number 3 in the nation right now in completion percentage. What have been the keys for you to get to that level of success so far this year?
Just trying to play within the offense and stuff like that. And the thing is, even the numbers like that, we have a lot to improve on as an offense. I think we've left a lot of meat on the table. And, I think this bye week we did a really nice job of finding ways that we can maximize our performance and get our offense even higher.
What stats other than wins do you think are sort of the best indicators of your performance? Are you looking first at completion percentage, yards per attempt?
I don't really check the stats, to be honest. Mainly the win column is pretty much all I'm concerned of. So I don't really care if I could throw for 20 yards and we win every game. Then I'd be just happy. If I had a completion percentage of 5% and we win the game, I'd be happy. So
and
that's all I care
nothing that
about.
you think kind of says this means I gave us the best chance to win the game?
I don't think any stat. I think just going back, and I guess the stat would be how many reads did I, miss, things like that. If it's a low percentage, I think I gave us the best chance to win. If it's higher, then obviously got room to improve on.
Is that something that they chart for you?
Not really. I kind of have my own little notebook that I go through. Well, I could hit this guy. Certain scenarios.
Is there any difference in the way you prepare for a Pac-12 opponent versus a non-conference opponent?
No difference. We take the same approach to every game. Respect everyone, fear no one. That's the mindset around here, and that's how we approach every game.
Kind of going off that, is it just, I guess, what's the vibe of the team with conference season starting?
It's like a new season for us. We got 0-0 up in the weight room. We got 9 conference games, so it's a whole new season for us. We've got a clean slate going right now, and we're just really focused on this week and winning one game a week.
There were quite a few crazy Pac-12 games on Saturday. Since you guys had the day off, did you get to watch those?
I watched a few, and then I mainly took the weekend to just get away from everything and relax while I could, and then get back in the groove of football while I can.
The stretch you guys have coming up, do you feel like this is your time to prove that we've turned the corner, we feel like we can find our identity now?
I don't think we're really concerned about that. I think we're really just concerned about winning the Tuesday practice tomorrow, then the Wednesday practice, and the Thursday practice, and then just letting the game be an extension of practice. I think that's one thing that's been missing this week, and over the last 3 weeks. But Coach Leach just preached, and I think that's when we turned the corner last year. We just looked at a game as just like another practice. It's just we're doing it in front of a few more thousand people than we do on a practice.
What's going on in the first quarter? Obviously, starting games has been a bugaboo issue for you guys. How can you get out to a quicker start?
just doing our job. I think that's the biggest deal, and just having some energy, having some tempo coming out of the bat. I think some guys think, we've kind of been the team that responds when we get hit in the mouth. All right, well, let's go deliver the punch first. So I think that'll be something big to improve on.
Did you kind of get after the offense early in the Idaho game?
Yeah, I said something earlier than I usually do. I felt like we were just kind of lagging. It was an 11 o'clock kickoff. It was raining. There were some weather issues, so we just had to get the spark going, and we finally did. And once we did, then obviously we saw what our offense can do. When we're on, and when we're not playing with rhythm, when we're not playing with tempo, then we need that kickstart to get going. Because when we do play with tempo and we play with a certain rhythm to us, we're a tough offense to stop.
You mentioned you want games to be like practice, just played in front of a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, it's going to be a night game in front of a packed house. What are you kind of expecting with the environment?
Coach, our strength coach just said this is kind of the environment that we've all been wanting for. This is why we come to college. That's why we come to a Pac-12 school, especially Pullman being a football crazed town and stuff like that. I mean, I bet it's going to be a packed house, just bunch of Cougs out there. We play in front of the best fans, I think, and just it's a real fun atmosphere for us to play in front of.
Any questions on the line for Luke Falk?
Hey Luke, you said Idaho sort of dared you guys to run just by what they presented. Do you foresee that sort of a defense against Oregon as well, like just based on the way last year's game unfolded as well?
I don't know. I mean, anything can happen on Saturdays. Right now, that hasn't been what we've seen, but obviously when we play Idaho, we didn't see that look at all. So really, we're just prepared for anything. But right now, we're taking we're just seeing what on film right now that they're not going to do anything like that. But who knows? Anything can happen on Saturday. We just got to be able to adjust.
And what do you think, looking back on your first 3 games, what do you think you have to improve on most going down the road this season?
Just being consistent. I think this year I got to be more of a kind of an energy guy, getting energy going. I think last year we had some real senior leadership like Gunnar Eklund stuff that was a real energy booster. And we got Cole, Madison, and guys like Gabe, but I gotta step up in that role too of just bringing more energy early on in the game.
Is that a natural role for you?
I'm kind of a calm, even kill kind of guy. So it's definitely not, within my personality all that much, but I definitely can do it. There's certain times where it just comes out of me, and just got to come out a little earlier.
When did you start to realize that was a role that you needed to take in this offense?
Just this bye week. I've been looking at things that we can improve on. I just think energy is one of them. And if you get positive energy going, then I think this offense is going to be right on track.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on the line for Luke? And back in the room.
Luke, 2 weeks ago, Coach Leach kind of called out the team's toughness a little bit publicly, and then we find in the Saturday game against Idaho, you actually ran the ball more in the first half than you passed. Was that kind of trying to install some toughness into the offense, do you think?
Not really. That was mainly just of what Idaho's given us. They're playing 4 in the box, just daring us to run, and the numbers say run, we run. And it really showed that we got a tough bunch up front, and got some really good running backs that can make plays for us. And it was really nice to see.
What have you seen out of Williams? Is it James Williams this year?
Just what we've seen in Thursday Night Football and in practice. He makes first guy miss. He just does everything fast, and he's really a big playmaker.
Are you guys a tougher team than you were when he was questioning the toughness?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that we're hitting harder. I think we're running our feet. I think we're doing the things that make football, a physical game, and we're just what it all roots down to is just doing our job. And I think we're all doing a better job at doing our job.
Have you been seeing more zone this year?
We've definitely seen a lot more drop 8 than we have in the past. I think the first 3 games we saw a lot, and then Idaho. I mean, they were playing 3 safety shell kind of deal where it's just it would be dumb for us not to run. So
different for you when you're going through your reads, or do you have to kind of look at the defender more than look at your wide receiver when you're seeing zone?
I mean, the reads are the same. It's just, all right, the windows are going to be a little tighter. There's just going to be certain things that weren't there maybe in the past if they played a different defense. But really all you're doing is just still reading space. You know, nothing really changes. Just check leverage and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers.
Anything else for Luke?
What would you consider your most improved part of your game since we got here and started playing?
Since I got here, just knowing the offense and playing within myself, just kind of knowing my strengths of what I do really good at and things like that.
How many notebooks do you go through in a season?
Well, I got probably 5.
Just those like 60-page spiral.
I like the composition notebooks. I don't like the spiral at all. And then I have like a certain pen I have to use that writes good. Yeah. If I don't have my certain pen, then I won't write.
These are mostly used at like the QB meetings with Leach, or?
No, I don't really like bring them there. It's more like on my, my off time.
And you'll go back and look at games you could have already played to see what you were doing right and wrong.
Yeah, then I just can go like the Oregon week. All right, what were some good notes last year? I know obviously they're playing a little different defense and stuff, but there's always good and valuable information you could go back on.
What can you take away from that game last year for this one coming up?
I think just the resiliency of our team. We got it in us to be a tough group. I think we scored 10 points in like 3 minutes down there, and got a real tough road win in double overtime. So just the gritty effort of our team, and that was kind of I think the turning point last year for us. And hopefully we can get some rhythm, get some groove going on all 3 sides of the ball this game.